everybody to Tuning Fork. It's a show about music and the Pitchfork Media Hype Machine. I'm David.
I'm Matt.
And we have a guest today. You want to introduce yourself too?
Hi, I'm Janos.
It's Janos.
We got
Please
Mr.
clap.
So Damn on his podcast here.
Yeah, no space personality Janos.
Yeah,
Just making the circuit around all of the podcasts.
I own the network shows section on Noisepace. Like, I think half of the shows on there are mine. So
It is a good portion of them.
yeah.
Let me know if there's any that aren't there currently, and I'll add them.
I don't think so.
I think I'm pretty thorough. I think I got most of them there. And David, what are we talking about today?
Well, like, Janos offhandedly mentioned something about, like, either Mount Erie or the microphones, I think, in HKIP chat, and then decided to do a completely different album instead. But that's fine.
Yeah, look, I just posted something that Phil posted.
Sometimes you just post.
Yeah, and you were like, let's do Tuning Fork. And I was like, yeah, but as much as I love Phil, and yeah, as much as I love the Glow Part 2, one, not sure how fun it is to talk about his music. And also, like, I think I know people who are bigger fans than me, so I feel like I do them an injustice. So I was like looking through all the best new musics, and I was like, which is one that like gets a reaction out of me, and it was this one.
Yeah, so it's Who Will Cut Our Hair When We're Gone by the Unicorns from 2003?
2003.
Yeah.
So
we're going a little bit back in the timeline here.
Mm-hmm. I think this was Pitchfork's real Kingmaker days.
Yeah.
Like, I think after this, like, there's definitely periods of time where, like, they could still make or break an artist, like, in, like, 2011. But this is, like, if Pitchfork gave you a nice review, you existed. Like, that's what it was at this point, right? Because, like, you also just gotta note, like, this is pre-Arcade Fire. People were not paying attention to Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 7-year-old at this time, so I got to this album like in 2015, I think.
For me, it probably would have been like my friend Callie turned me on to them in like 2005 or 6, like sometime after we'd started high school. Was like a random like New York music store purchase for her. So very like very serendipitous.
So it was like, here's a pretty recent album, but they already broke up.
Yeah, pretty much. And it kind of makes sense when you listen to the album. It very much seems like the kind of thing where they barely got it together for the album in the first place.
Yeah, they had a lot of ideas, but it seemed more like something that thrived in the recording studio than live, apparently.
Yeah, and it's like it's almost like the way the trajectory worked is almost like the opposite of how Japandroids worked out, where Japandroids were like a fixture live act that are like, fuck, I guess we should just record an album and then we can finish up. And then the album got really popular and then they got popular and kind of just like, exploded out. And here it's just like, they're like a bunch of studio heads who hated performing live. They finally record an album and then they tour so hard that they die.
Yeah. I was mentioning this earlier that the only comment on the artist page on Redacted is, saw them live in about 2004, was one of the worst shows I've ever been to. They played like a 30-minute set, were dicks to the audience, and it seemed like they hated their lives. Not hard to see why they broke up.
And I just remember I was looking... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, this is kind of, like, I don't know, maybe it's not a great pitch, but like every time I bring this album up to someone who doesn't know it, I'm like, oh, it's like two people who have great chemistry on the album, but as soon as they were touring, they realized they hate each other and broke up. So.
I think so this album does have 2 Pitchfork reviews, which we'll get into shortly. Only one of them is good. Sorry, they're both positive scores, but only one of them is a good review.
Yeah.
And the latter of those reviews, written by Stuart Berman, like one of Pitchfork's best writers, so I'm glad that he got on the reissue writing. Just talks about how like their writing style is really combative. It's like the fact that they managed to coalesce into coherent songs is almost like a miracle that it happened at all.
This album feels like, and in many regards, like not just in terms of the band members, but this album like really feels like it's holding together with duct tape. Like
Some of the songs kind of feel like it's an argument between the two main songwriters.
Yeah.
They do that more than once on the album, and you don't even know how much of it's kayfabe.
Yeah, exactly. It's in and out of character.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as the stuff after this band broke up, Nick Thorburn is obviously best known for Islands, which he's done like a bajillion albums with at this point. Although I feel like now he's more known for doing music for podcasts.
That's true. He did.
I feel like more people know what Serial is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't know he wrote that. I have never listened to Serial,
song.
Of course.
We did all the music for Serial.
Wild. The first podcast, so I guess I should be thankful to him. That
we should
he
be thankful.
Podcasting.
Yeah, it's the only podcast that's out there, actually.
Yeah, no, it's all true crime. That's all that exists. But and then Alden Penner has released a few things. He put out Clues, which is his I'd say main band, as if he released more than one album. He put out one album with Clues on Constellation Records, so that's Godspeed's label. So, still in with the Montreal pals for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then put out an album as The Hidden Words, which is a Baha'i faith album.
Interesting.
I don't know anything about that religion, so I can't say anything either way on it. All I know is that album was in a bunch of different languages. And then he has a Bandcamp, which I just found today, which has music by a band called Go Fuck Yourself, which released music in March of last year.
Oh, hey, yeah.
The only review on Bandcamp is, my taxi driver recommended it to me. Don't know what's going on here.
The band is named after his feelings toward Nick Thorburn.
I don't even know if they hate each other that much, though. It's just I feel like they've had enough time apart that it's mostly cool at this point. Because
they had a reunion in 2014. And
they played a grand total of 6 shows, but nonetheless they had a reunion. So it was New York, a few New York shows, a few LA shows, and then one show at Pop Montreal was the last thing they did. I really wanted to go to Pop Montreal that year.
I feel like that's the same year, 2014 or 15 was also when fucking Neutral Milk Hotel did their one reunion. So that was.
Well, let me see when I saw
time
them.
For
Neutral Milk Hotel at Cool House, which is the venue that I saw them at, was January 2014. What do you know?
Yeah,
there you go.
So that was a year for seeing bands together that you didn't think would ever play together again. Unlike
Neutral Milk Hotel, I did not get to see the Unicorns because they didn't fucking play anywhere near me.
Yeah, the Canadian band didn't come anywhere near you.
Yeah, the only Canadian show was in Montreal, which was not close to me at the time. It's a little closer to me now, but still not that close.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I didn't realize they were Canadian until very recently, which is, I don't know, I guess I just didn't look into them, and I didn't think about the fact that I knew that they performed with Arcade Fire a few times, so I feel like that should have been a hint, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Arcade Fire plays with a lot of people. Arcade Fire toured with Janelle Monáe at one point, so
That's true.
Yeah.
No, and also North America is just
And that's one thing that the Stu Berman review gets into right at the end. It's Unicorns are about to, because this was the reissue of this album came out a little bit before the tour, was in 2003, you could easily imagine the opposite scenario: Arcade Fire opening for a headlining Unicorns in 2014.
Yeah, because Funeral hadn't even come out yet at that point.
The Arcade Fire hadn't released Funeral yet, and the Unicorns hadn't toured themselves into oblivion yet. And as far as promising bands go, they both could have gone either way. Richard Reed Parry of Arcade Fire is on this album. He plays several instruments and also does recording assistance.
Yeah, apparently Regine of Arcade Fire was on Island's first album, which I didn't know.
Yeah, that tracks. And then, Island's first album just contains several direct references to this one.
Yeah. Both reviews of this were 8.9. We mentioned the second review already, the reissue. Stuart Berman wrote that review. Good review, well written. The first review...
This is one of the most deranged things I have ever read.
It's definitely up there in terms of what we've read on the show so far.
Yeah, can I please just read this first paragraph?
Please.
I just really want to read it.
Yes, absolutely.
This review written by Eric Carr. Let's see how recently he's written for the site. The last thing he wrote was a Smog review in 2005, so it's been a while. But he also wrote the Robert Pollard Relaxation of the Asshole review, which is very likely something that we will cover.
Oh, this is a 0. Can I come back for that? I love Robert Pollard.
Yeah, well, it's a 0, and when it was released, it had a 0 and a 10. They gave it both.
Oh yeah.
That was a very. I don't actually know if the review is good, but I'm fascinated by that conceptually. Because, yeah, Relaxation of the Asshole it's an album entirely of Guided by Voices banter. It's literally no songs, it's just the banter.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I didn't know this album, but that tracks for Guided by Voices, honestly.
So here's the first paragraph of the original 2003 review for Who Will Cut Our Hair When We're Gone. Pop music gets off way too easily. So long as groups stick to only the sweetest melodies, throw in a couple of ba-ba-bas and sing about how Stacy's mom has got it going on, or some other such timeless verse, they're valued as somehow above the fray. It seems even the most venomous rock elitists can be defanged by a few simple hooks, turned endlessly forgiving by some easy harmonies. If Stalin himself had ruled with less of an iron fist and more Beach Boys-style harmonies, he might be remembered as much for his keen songwriting chops as for the wholesale slaughter of millions of his own people. Such is the inexplicable titanic redemptive power of pop. That self-same blinding power is also why it takes a band as innovative as the Unicorns to throw the complacencies of pop into stark relief, to finally hold it accountable for such casual abuses.
So this is a scenario that would happen.
Hello?
Yeah.
What if Stalin had written pop songs instead? Have you ever thought about that?
I mean,
have you thought about what would happen if Fountains of Wayne killed millions of their own people?
God. Rest in peace, Adam Schlesinger.
Yeah.
That just made me think about that, which is sad.
Yeah.
And Fountains of Wayne is also just good, so jot that down. But yeah, no, this whole first review gets it is nothing. Even after that, the rest of the review is just jerk-off motion.
What does Stalin have to do with this band?
It's so much wow, they're making unconventional song structure choices. And it's they're not even doing that. They're relatively normal songs structure-wise.
Yeah, they just don't have choruses, and that's it.
Yeah, not having an ABA song structure doesn't make it a revolutionary
but for
pop song.
Music, this is just an attitude of hating pop music, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Saying that any pop song that doesn't have an ABA structure, any pop song that doesn't have verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus,
Yeah, it's
already revolutionary. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all things that can be said about modern Pitchfork, which, on that note, support the Pitchfork Union, obviously. We have said it on Twitter. But, okay, first, also, just on that note, they gave Welcome Interstate Managers a 7.5. That is not even a bad score. But yeah, no, it's all that can be said about Pitchfork, it's at least they understand that pop music is real now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's I guess that was what they were offering that was different at the time.
Mm.
It's they weren't Rolling Stone. They weren't what other magazines even exist? None of them exist anymore is the thing. Every fucking magazine is folded.
I guess.
NME, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going through the Destroyer song, which once you mentioned.
And yeah, so this is just them establishing their value prop. It's here's some music that's different.
Yeah, for pop music, as much as we
sure.
If you have to admit that you like a pop song, then you already have to give a paragraph long explanation that there's actually okay, unlike other pop music, this one is revolutionary. So,
this band isn't like other girls.
It makes good pop hooks. One thing that's that is kind of mentioned is they really just start hooks and throw them away right away. They really don't milk anything on this whole album.
No. Yeah, that's why that was the other.
It's to its credit.
That was the other. Yeah, that was the other thing. I was saying that it feels like it's held together with duct tape, because it's so many of these songs feel like they just they stick together 5 song ideas, and it somehow works, but it still feels a lot of the time feels like this could fall apart at any moment, and it's kind of, gives for an exhilarating listen, because like anything can happen.
Yeah, I wonder how much of this was like influenced by the late 90s, early 2000s Elephant Six type thing, where they were exchanging ideas through the mail with cassettes and 4-track recordings and stuff, and splicing stuff together in the studio like that.
I feel like it was a lot of that, but also like they all just lived in Montreal. I'm sure they all just bounced between each other's houses all the time. God, remember where you could like go to people's houses?
Yeah.
No,
it really makes you think, huh?
But I don't know. Just like, I have not read Modern Pitchfork reviews, so I don't know if they still do it, but I assume they don't like compare pop music to genocidal dictators anymore.
No, I don't think so.
What if Stalin wrote the Beach Boys songs? I just can't get over this. Like, making up a guy to get mad at, but it's specifically a real life dictator, and like trying to
making up things about a guy to get mad at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, you could easily have just spun that into the fact that Charles Manson was in the studio with the Beach Boys.
Yeah, he was.
That's a real thing that happens. You could have just said, what if Charles Manson's songs were good?
But they weren't.
But they weren't! I guess we could start getting into the album.
Please.
All right. First we have I Don't Want to Die.
I pretend to die in a plane crash. I see it now. I die in a car on tour. And there's no one to stop this. Nobody to lose the death from grab for me.
Which is starting the album off with kind of a weird cartoony doo-wop song. Lots of sound effects.
Yeah, it feels like Nicholas Thorburn just like found that keyboard setting that makes a squeaky noise, and he was like, yes, more of
I'm
this.
sticking with this.
I think Stu Berman refers to it as setting the synthesizer to fart.
Yeah.
Which is the best description of how the synths sound on this whole album.
I should find the fart setting on my synth for my next album.
Setting. You could make your own unicorn song.
Yeah.
You just have to work on your falsetto a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I think this like fart sound is also like what immediately hooked me on this album. Like the first time I heard it, is that it's very fun to listen to. It's
Yeah. We were talking earlier about how it's effectively, like, specifically a headphone album. You can't really listen to it like on speakers with a lot of background noise, because a lot just gets lost because it's so low in the mix.
It worked pretty well when I was listening to it on vinyl just now. The speakers are pointed right at me and I'm like a meter away from them, but nonetheless it's like it worked well. I think it's just like this album, weirdly for such a lo-fi album, kind of requires a bit of fidelity.
Yeah.
Because there's details that will get lost regardless of how like low fidelity the recording itself was. So like when I was trying to listen to it yesterday, like in the car, non-starter, complete fucking non-starter. Some of the singles would work fine that way. Like Jelly Bones would be fine that way. But some of the songs, they're straight up whispering the whole time.
Yeah, there's just bass and like low crooning and no treble whatsoever.
Yeah, and Ready to Die is one of... I Don't Want to Die is one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really can't listen to this one in a loud environment.
Yeah. It's all of 2 minutes long.
Yeah,
it just kind of... It gets you a nice jump-in point and then immediately leaves.
I guess that kind of adds to the listenability to this album, I think, that most of the songs are really short, and even if they're not, they're like Child Star is the longest song, but that's like...
A lot of
noodling. Still has like enough distinct parts that it's just like really... There's no fat on this album, right? Or there's no...
Child Star is a 5-minute song suite.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what if Sufjan did Impossible Soul really fucking fast?
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, listen to Impossible Soul at 4x speed and then get back to me.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to Tuning Fork episode 1 at 4x speed and get back to me. I love that in the first part of the song, Nick Thorburn does an explosion sound with his mouth.
Oh yeah.
So good.
such an evocative plane crash sound.
Yeah. And this already, like, this line, I predicted dying in a plane crash explosion sound, I see it now, I die in a car on tour, already got, like, one of the worst Genius annotations I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad.
Vocalist Nicholas Thornburn's predictions probably won't come true. The yearly odds of dying in a plane crash are 1 in 11 million, while the odds of dying in a motor vehicle crash are 1 in 5,000. And then a picture of the band not wearing shirts.
I love to,
In
actually
a bathtub
someone
full
who...
of hair.
Oh yeah, that is a bathtub full of hair, isn't it?
It is.
Anyway, thank you, Squanto.
Wonderful. Yeah. I love when someone tells me that... When someone tells me that they're afraid to go on a plane, I love to pull up numbers on how few people die in a plane crash. Yeah,
this album has some of the worst Genius annotations I've ever seen. I think largely in part of the fact that they all seem to predate like it not being Rap Genius. Like I think it was all still Rap Genius when this album was put on. Like, before they started making, like, the separate sections and everything. Oh, and then we all know the kind of people who want to go explain Rap Genius, or explain rap songs, are all the most annoying white people that exist.
Yeah,
and there's also several points where they just completely misinterpret the lyric, which, like, we'll get to in a couple of times later on.
There's some... my other favorite is also on this song for the lyrics. My finger's on the pulse, but where's the beat? And the annotation says, a common way of telling if someone is alive is to test their pulse, usually by putting 2 fingers on the neck. No beat means no life.
Wow, beat is life.
It's true.
I loved it. Like, literally, like, half of the explanations on this album are just, if you don't
incredibly
breathe, that
literal.
Means you're dead.
Yeah. Which, like, yeah, it's kind of an album about death. What was your clue? The fact that there's the word ghost in 3 different song titles?
In a row?
In a row? In a row?
In a row?
But yeah, this song does... This song kind of just references those songs straight up.
Yeah.
Like Drifting Out to Sea, like, referencing Sea Ghost, and then Don't Want to Die in Our Sleep, referencing Ghost Mountain.
Yep.
Sleeping Bags.
Shall we move on to the first Ghost song?
Yeah, we can move on to the first Ghost song.
All right, we got Tough Ghost.
Tough ghost disappears for 3 days. Tough ghost is set in his ways. I don't want to hurt you. You can't 'cause I'm already dead. Tough ghost invincible. Your guts came out when he bled. I lift weights, but I don't sweat. I go for a swim, but I don't get wet. I don't care.
The song fucking
This is
whips.
a banger.
Yeah, this is the single that I remember the most from this album.
I
feel like that's the case for most people.
I remember, well, I lift weights, but I don't sweat. I go for a swim, but I don't get wet. Was very like AOL Instant Messenger away message lyrics.
Yeah.
That's the exact era that evokes for me. And also, like, the fucking melody of those 2 lines has been stuck in my head since 2006, and they just fucking drop it and leave it. Like, you could have used that for every bridge and made the song, like, twice as long, but you're just like, I lift weights, but I don't sweat. I go for a swim, but I don't get wet. And then it's just like, boom, it's gone. You drop the perfect couplet. They don't give a fuck.
This has great interplay between the 2 of them. Like, this is some of the best call and response on this song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it's like, one of them is describing what the ghost is doing, and then the other one is the ghost and giving deadpan replies like, you can't 'cause I'm already dead. Can't hurt me.
Wow, annotation on the tough ghost disappears for 3 days. This may be an allusion to Jesus Christ, who was dead for 3 days following his crucifixion and prior to his resurrection. Golly, you fucking think so?
I love how every time Genius does something like this, they also have to add like the worst JPEG of Jesus. Like,
yeah, it's a pretty bad.
In case you don't know who Jesus Christ is.
Just in case.
Yeah. And it is also, I think, it is also very light-skinned Jesus that they picked, of course.
Oh, of course.
You can't 'cause I'm already dead. Spook answered wish of person asking him to say something earlier in this song. one line earlier. Ghost replies
I do
cleverly
like the,
to previous line.
Yeah, I like the annotation. I actually like it's a comment on the annotation for I go for a swim, but I don't get wet. It might be an allusion to walking on water like Jesus did. Like, I mean, that's actually just like a fun interpretation because like the obvious implication is like, you know, he's not affected by his environment like the actual reference says. But, you know, bring back the Jesus. Why not? I want to be the person who goes through every line of every song and just sees if there's Jesus there.
We'd love to do that. But yeah,
where's the Christ?
There's no point in explaining that if you swim, you usually get wet. And by the way, if you don't get wet, that means that
you might be a ghost.
You might be a ghost. You might do something that normal people can't do.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I just need to go through all of these annotations and mark either the restates the line or the it's a stretch.
Yeah.
We move into our second ghost track with
See
Ghost
right
Mountain.
through Ghost Mountain.
From the fire, but I still froze when I saw the ghost. Oh, there was heat from the fire, but I still froze when I saw the ghost. Told the gang we were unwelcome. The ghost.
Is this the one? This one has the squeaky synth at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
good.
For some reason, and this won't mean anything to you, Janusz, but Matt, does the organ and guitar like together sound at all like the Battle Royale to you?
Oh yeah, totally. I think they have I think they both picked the same fart sound on their keyboard.
Yeah. This was the cheap indie keyboard at the time.
Honestly, it might just literally be the same keyboard.
It might be, yeah. So the Battle Royale was a Minneapolis band that broke up like within a couple years after they formed. They were all teenagers, and then a couple of them went on to form the band Night Moves.
But
No idea.
they're a band that only me and David have ever listened to.
Yeah.
They were never
Ghost
covered by
Mountain.
Pitchfork, unfortunately.
This riff at the beginning is so catchy. Like that's stuck in my head constantly.
Yeah,
I kind of want to just listen
for
to
sure.
it right now. I might just pop open the folder and just give it a little spin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it starts with that kind of crunchy drum sound, and then it goes wow 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 wow. It's like somebody is holding down the knob on their synth and turning the cutoff up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's kind of fun that this is something that's also remarked in the review. It gives all the songs a very like improvised quality because it very much seems like they're just fucking around with their synths at the start of all of the songs, and they just happen to move into a song afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they do this on the singles because like that's like the main thing I remember about the start of Jelly Bones is nothing but synth fuck ups. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
The like starting and stopping hooks all the time is a thing that I feel like is coming back a little bit. This was also a thing that Deerhoof has done their entire career. Like they're really good at writing hooks. They use them for about 4 bars and then don't revisit them at all throughout the rest of the track.
Yeah. With Deerhoof, it's definitely just like, this is what happens when you take several virtuosos and put them in a room together.
Yeah. Like,
Whereas
I wrote
this
this
is like,
thing.
this is just 2 guys who hate each other.
Could vocalist Nick Thorburn be a naturalist? The second line of the song indicates that he felt guilty in asserting the power of man over the power of nature. So apparently he affected the ghost's appearance in order to undo the harm he and his friends had caused, but without having
Christ's
to appear
sake.
soft. And then there's like a big JPEG of like a forest with naturalism written in all caps in Times New Roman.
God.
I love that.
I really hate the fucking Canadian flag planting JPEG that they put for the first annotation on this song.
When we climbed to the peak, we planted
Oh
a
my
flag.
god.
I feel like the person who put this annotation made this image themselves.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, so it's 2 people planting a Canadian flag, but they're like, it's photographed with the worst lighting. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, it's like all dark, and the person behind the person planting the flag, probably their partner, is like grabbing them from behind and is probably making good. Like, this looks like a holiday photo, but like,
Yeah.
a common tradition done to signify the conquering of a country, landmass, or object in space. Thanks.
Yeah, the naturalist thing doesn't seem like it's too far off. It just seems like a very, like, the whole album is about, you know, death and returning to the land almost. Like, it's kind of all over it. It's very Dan Deacon Wham City verse
Yeah.
about that. It's just like, you know, the humans aren't accepted here. We are the virus kind of thinking that was like, that just seems like a very popular frame of thought that existed in the early 2000s. I mean, it still exists now, but I feel like people are, you know, people more recognize that capitalism is the virus now. Humans
Yeah.
are fine. Capitalism is the virus.
Now,
We
in
all
the words
understand.
of Montreal, we are nihilists with good imaginations.
God.
Great
I
song.
can imagine that both Nick and Alden listened to a bunch of Montreal.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like you say,
that
like
tracks.
the Elephant Six area was very like was kind of the people who were exploring this sonic space a little bit before they were, and I feel like Of Montreal was the pop of the Elephant Six space.
Yeah.
So
This was like
Yep.
around the time that like the like famous Of Montreal albums came out, right? Like when
they all
Yeah.
the more famous ones started a little later. Like 2005 is when they were putting out their big stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
This
they
was-
were nonetheless 4 albums deep.
Yeah,
at this point,
Sunland
yes.
Experience is 2005. Satanic Panic is 2004. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, because like
So-
that era of Montreal sounds more like this one than the early ones that is like very
Yeah, absolutely.
the very Beatles-esque first 3 albums.
Oh, yeah.
And nothing needs to sound like the Beatles in the 2000s.
Yeah.
You simply don't need it.
Yeah.
All right, we're at to
I don't know,
ghost number 3.
I like early of Montreal, but you know,
Yeah.
didn't have to do that.
We're getting to our third ghost.
Sea
Yeah.
Ghost.
Surrounded by one big tear, which only reminded me of a former love. But we weren't welcome. The sea made that clear by filling us with saline and sending us blue.
This was the one that has the recorder fucking around at the beginning, right? Like that.
Yep.
That also
Yeah,
like just like
it's-
2 bars. That's enough.
It's 20th century Fox flute.wave.
Yeah.
It really is. Another great Squanto annotation on this one. It's talking like he has the would divorce what was wed above is one of the lyrics, and this guy is relating it to Nick Thorburns' actual divorce that he would have 9 years later.
9 years later, this is an insane annotation.
Clearly, this has been building up for some time.
The parasite here is a metaphor for Nicholas Thorburns' lover. What?
I don't think it is.
There's
I think
at no
It's
other
like-
point on this album is there like references to relationships. That's
No, not
not
at
the
all.
type of album. This
it's
is.
it's about personal relationships with creativity and with death. Those are the only
Yeah.
2 things that are discussed on this album.
The
has
parasite
the-
here is a reference to Bong Joon-ho's 2019 film that would come out 16 years later.
Clearly, this has been long in the making. Because the divorce line in this is would divorce what was wed above, which like using
He's literally
divorce-
just saying the
Yeah.
word separate in more words.
yeah, exactly.
It's like
this-
you took this metaphorical line literally.
This annotator doesn't know that divorce can be used in other senses, as like doesn't understand basic metaphors, claims to be a genius.
Oh my god, this person was literally Genius staff.
Fuck yes.
Oh, jeez.
That rules.
He was Genius staff in 2013 and 2014, which is when he wrote these annotations.
This
Incredible.
really
website.
explains a lot.
This tracks so much.
Thank you, Squanto.
I wonder if he's the same guy who on the Das Racist line that says "Rap Genius is White Devil Sophistry." The genius annotation for that line is a Rap Genius staff's rapt response. Like it's just an embedded YouTube video of their rap response to that line. I wonder if that was Squanto. I'm not going to look it up right now, but I'm just going to say that it's him.
Yeah, we can credit Squanto for
We can
everything.
credit Squanto for that extreme cringe.
Yeah, Squanto keeps trying to squeeze the divorce things or relationship things into this song, but it's all like a fucking stretch. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I love the last
this
annotation
is,
on this song. For my memory is so fucking unclear. And the annotation is, in this verse we can read, many things have betrayed me. One of them is his memory.
Thank you, Rigor Mortis 3.
Walto marked this as restating the line.
Like, I
yeah.
really just love the imagery on this song. It's very much just like babies first dying in the ocean imagery.
Yeah.
But, like, it works.
Yeah, you
It's
choked
great.
as you surfaced, tangled in seaweed.
This was just The Lighthouse 2019.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson loved the unicorns famously.
Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea if you're just making that up or if that's true. Like knowing his Death Grip's head, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a big needle drop viewer.
God.
I'm sure he is.
Oh, I don't even want to look up if Anthony has reviewed this album. I don't want to know.
I don't.
I don't want to know. I don't want to die.
He seems like a Squanto is the thing. Like that's the vibe that I get from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like, I
very
feel like-
clearly tries to be the new Pitchfork or whatever. So
Yeah. It's like there's a couple of ways you can approach an album like this, and one of the ways you can approach it is from like an overtly macho music reviewer perspective, and that is not the perspective I want anyone coming at this album with. These guys are singing in falsetto the whole fucking time.
Right. It's the 60s psychedelic Baba song where the bridge is all just singing Babas.
They got babas, nanas, and doot-doos.
Yeah, this is Feed the Children's.
the other the one line of this song that I keep singing to myself like randomly is "What remained of the driving intent." Like that's I cannot hear driving intent in a different intonation than the way it is on this song.
Yeah, it's good. It's like these are the songs that like they kind of worm their way deep down, but they're not the ones that have like really stuck in my head over the years, like hook wise.
Yeah,
But they're like
Yeah.
they're a really nice set of songs.
yeah, and a lot of these are just like I hear like there's just like random lines of the song that stick with me more than the entire song, which is like
Whereas like when I was doing my re-listen, the second
Yeah.
Jelly Bones came on, I fucking activated. My eyes went red like the memes, and I was like jutting down the streets.
Jelly Bones very much feels like it's the next song, yeah, so
Yeah, it
we
is.
can move on to that one. But like that song is so much of like the single of the album, like very
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
It is like the poppiest thing they've ever made.
Yeah.
Except maybe I Was Born a Unicorn. I'd give those two probably the closest. But like, yeah, no, it's the most their energies have managed to coalesce into poppiness.
Yeah. So let's get into Jelly Bones a little bit.
I woke him up, broke the news. After everything was sold, I said, "Son of God, a full-blown case of what is known as Jelly Bones." Jelly, 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 jelly bones. Jelly, 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 jelly.
This is like where this was the point at the album where I realized that the fart synth would in fact be in every track. I was like, all right, at this point in the album, it's got to be a conscious choice. It's not just something
Yeah.
that they happen to have.
Yeah, I was watching a video of them like performing Tough Ghost, and Nicholas was just like really into like pushing that setting on the keyboard. Like he really leaned into that. Like you could just really tell that it's that this is the new shit for him.
Oh
This
yeah.
is great.
This has some of my favorite just like fucking around on the synths at the start.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What a great riff.
It's so good. And then yeah, jelly bones. It means nervousness. There you go. I annotated the whole fucking song.
Drove up in my bone Camaro. This is a great wordplay.
This is a great wordplay.
Bone marrow is the flexible tissue in the interior of the bones. Camaro is a car manufactured by Chevrolet. Camaro and bone marrow equals bone Camaro. Thank you.
7
Bone
up
marrow is
votes.
the bone jelly.
It's like when
It's
you
like
come
his
up
bones are
with-
all marrow. Does he have
Yeah.
a jelly car? I wouldn't want a Camaro made out of bone marrow. That's soft. It wouldn't be very good.
No, it wouldn't. It would have a lot of good crumple spots though.
What if his bone Camaro is like driving up in your bone Camaro is just like walking when you don't have a car? Like
That's
This is
literally
my flesh
me going
car.
to any. That's me going to any doctor's appointment. I literally just walk there.
yeah.
Like,
Am
bro,
I
I'm literally
remembering-
walking here.
Am I remembering correctly that the Flintstones car was partially made out of dinosaur bones?
Oh, that's a good one. Maybe that's what he means.
Yeah, it's actually just a Flintstones reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean look at the album cover, it's maybe.
We didn't talk about the album cover at all. It's very like colored pencil coloring page type of style.
I
Yeah, it's
did
great.
notice that the one on Genius says the Unicrons,
The Unicrons.
which is
It
not
does.
what is on the one that I have.
No, I wonder if that was like legitimately a thing or if this is just a bad Photoshop that somebody managed to sneak in here.
I don't know, because if I look at the Spotify cover for this, it's much more like it feels much less like pencil sketch, like this.
Yeah, the reissue had different art,
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
which is bad because like the original art was very good. So I'm glad that my copy is not a reissue pressing. Although the remaster does sound pretty nice. We haven't really been talking about the difference between them because like I didn't go and listen to them in that way.
Yeah.
But
I didn't listen to any of the bonus tracks or anything.
yeah, it was like a very it was a pretty hands-off remaster. It was just like just a releveling, maybe a little bit of normalization, like just simple stuff. Like they didn't remove any of the character from it. There's still like scratchiness on the samples. You could still hear the keyboards like clipping out of the waveform a few times when they get really nutty with them with the fart sounds. But yeah, this song is like so many goddamn good hooks in this one.
Yeah.
This one is the singing along at the show song.
Oh yeah, everyone's saying jelly, 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 jelly bones.
Yeah.
So good.
And then yeah,
This
no,
is- like
the
this-
guitar line,
Yeah.
the guitar riff that goes behind "Son, you've got a full blown case of what is known as jelly bones." Like it's really fucking going off.
I want to hear that guitar track just as its own solo track, just out of context.
Oh yeah, no, I'd love to get the access to the stems for this album.
Yeah.
You can get really nutty with some of the stuff on this album. Mind you, there's a lot of like really good instrumental riffs that have no vocals over them, so you could easily sample this album if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But like
I-
that guitar's buried under Nick Thorburns' very whispery falsetto.
Yeah. I would love to see what the recording process for this album was. Like if they were like how many of the riffs they had like pre-written and how much of it was just like fucking around in studio and like
Well, like a lot of
Then
these
sticking
songs,
them
they had two like early like demo EPs,
Yeah.
and the majority of the songs on this album were from those. Jelly Bones being one of them. So like 3 Inches of Blood was the name of the EP.
Yeah.
Jelly Bones was on there. Everything else on 3 Inches of Blood wasn't on this album. But they had another EP that had one of the other songs on it.
Speaking of remixes and the unicorns, does anybody else remember the Korn Gang?
no.
Nobody remembers the Korn Gang because they never actually put out an album.
No, they just appeared on other people's remix albums.
Yeah.
Like I think they did a Rat-a-Tat remix, and they did a Beck remix for Guerrolito.
Yeah, and then the Islands' first album had a remixed Korn Gang song on it.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the hip hop project of Nick Thorburn and Jamie Thompson for like a couple months before Islands started.
Yeah. So yeah, Where There's a Will, There's a Whalebone by Islands was a Korn Gang song.
Yeah.
I think Rough Gem was too, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Is either that or Rough Gem was an old Unicorn song. That's also
Yeah.
possible. I can't remember off the dome. But, God, yeah, that album is like... It does just kind of feel like another... It's a Unicorns album without the Alden Penner interplay on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically it. Because like that album also has Jamie on it. It has Richard Reed Parry on it. It also
Yeah.
has Spencer Krug and Dan Beckner and Jim Guthrie. Fucking everyone is on that album.
Every Canadian they could find.
Like, Bus Driver does the rap verse on Where There's a Will, There's a Whalebone.
Yeah.
Wild.
God, we need to cover that album at some point. It got
there's-
B&M, right?
I think so. Yeah. At the show that that James and I went to that we mentioned previously, I think Despot came back out and did the rap verse on Where There's a Will, There's a Whalebone.
Oh, fuck yes! I would kill to have a recording of that, like a professional recording of that. Mostly because
Yeah.
Despot is allergic to releasing an album.
Yeah. He's too good for that.
He still hasn't done it. It's been so long.
Yeah. He's going on like 15, 16 years being out there, I think.
Yeah. Well, this the next song we have is it's short. It's a pretty short one.
Yeah. The Clap.
Please
Yeah.
clap.
Please clap.
This
They-
song is Jeb. Please clap.
I love
Yeah.
I love the clap though. Like for a 1 minute 27 seconds jam, it's great. It has like one line of lyrics that they repeat a few times.
It's
Yeah,
the
this is the
Unicorn's
entire
own
song.
strange take on If You're Happy and You Know It.
Jerk off
Thanks,
motion.
Squanto. Piece of shit.
This is where they briefly become a garage rock band.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I almost wish they explored this a little more.
It's such a good sound for them.
It's
and
a
they,
fun space for them.
And they literally spend 1 minute and 27 seconds on it.
And then never do it again.
Too bad.
I think it works great as an interlude between like the big songs of the album, I guess, Jelly Bones and Child Star.
Yeah, Child Star literally big.
Yeah. Child Star is their Bohemian Rhapsody.
It really is.
All right, let's talk about it then.
wrote you a letter to become a member of your fan club. All I got
I love
Child
that this
Star.
song is split up into lyrics by Child Star and lyrics by Fan.
Child Star and
Yeah.
fan. But not a fan anymore, actually, so...
This is one of the ones we were talking about where it actually features an argument between Alden and Nick.
Yeah.
Although apparently it was inspired by a bad experience meeting past his prime Corey Haim.
I don't know who that is.
Is it Haim or Haim? Is he
I
Haim?
believe it's Haim. Yeah.
He's
He
Haim.
was,
the band is Haim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey Haim was one of the two famous Coreys who were like 80s teen heartthrobs in movies.
Okay.
In American Hollywood movies. The
That
other
would
one
have
was
like largely
Corey
been
Feldman.
before our time as far as the movies actually releasing.
Oh,
Yeah.
so him and the other Corey were both in The Lost Boys.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so the star is played by Alden and the fan is played by Nick, right? I'm pretty sure.
Honestly,
I think so.
I cannot keep their voices apart. Like they do a great job as
Yeah. Alden's is a
singing
lot
in
more
the same
breathy.
range.
Alden's
Yeah.
is a lot more breathy. I do like this is one thing that's pointed out in one of the two reviews. I actually don't remember which one it is, but it's like most like songwriter foils, they'll generally have like different voices and different styles,
Yeah.
but like Nick and Alden just like finish each other's sentences all the time,
Yeah.
which like when you consider like how much they ended up like hating each other on tour, it's almost like it's kind of funny how well their chemistry works.
It's incredible. It's incredibly good chemistry.
They're one person on half these songs.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I can't really think of any other band that does so much like finishing off each other's sentences on an album. Like this type of interplay. Because, yeah, like usually it's gonna be like fucking the Johns on They Might Be Giants that it's like pretty easy to tell them apart, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Not
a lot
enough,
of people. There's a lot of people who really can't. But
Yeah. Not enough popular indie music these days. Not that word even means anything anymore. But not enough of it to me seems like it has this kind of humor to it.
Yeah.
Like where they're willing to just be silly and record it.
yeah, it's like
This is so much fun to listen. Like, I love this song. This is probably my favorite on the album. Like this,
oh yeah, the jams on this song are unmatched.
yeah,
Because like you look at the second half of the song and you see all like if you're looking at the lyrics, you see all the star fan interactions. You have to notice like those paragraphs are like a minute and a half apart each because they just like jam on all the keyboards between them. And yeah, no, that was, you were reminding me of something I was thinking coming into this album, is that like a noted indie musician now is like so likely to just be someone with rich parents.
yep.
Yeah.
And you can tell so much that these guys aren't that.
That's such a good point. Yeah.
You like, well, it's
Yeah.
Oh
like
my god.
there have been so many like noted instances of like this new indie artist that's suddenly fucking everywhere, and then you look into it for like 2 seconds and like, oh, her dad's Kevin Kline. Like, I
Yeah.
like Frankie Cosmos, but like her dad's Kevin Kline. That's the only reason that her music is out there. Someone
Yeah.
made a deal with someone and then it happened.
Yep.
And it's like that there's so much things come out just fully formed and fully polished that it's almost amazing that something this amateurish, and like not as an insult, just like this is unquestionably amateurish music, could
Yeah,
make
that's
like
like
a pretty big splash.
Yeah, I don't think if it were like more professional, it would probably not have the staying impact that it has, or it wouldn't have like made.
No, it would be too polished. Like
Yeah.
the edges are what really make it work, right?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, if you want to hear what polished unicorns sound like, then that's what Islands is.
I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which, like, I think this album has more staying power than most things Islands have put out. And like the things that would be pretty close would be like the first Islands album, which like it's like a backdoor Unicorns Corn Gang album, given that he just reused a lot of his old demos for it. Just re-recorded them in like, you know, a more polished studio, and didn't have Alden for interplay, so it's more just him. And like, I'm sure we're gonna cover Islands at some point. I did check
Oh, yeah.
Return to the Sea was best new music. It got less points than this one, but nonetheless.
And Arm's Way definitely was not. They
Oh,
immediately
no, it
went
was
down to
not.
6.2.
They did not like that album. I like that album a lot better than they did.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good too.
This
I
child
only ne-
star is wearing shorts.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these lyrics. I really love them.
It's so good. Like this.
Is there a photo of me on your wall in short shorts or zip down jeans? Do you look up at night and wish you were me under the spotlight? Are you visceral, viscous? Do you wanna make love to my sweet visage?
and
like-
then pretend it's you? Like it paints this child star in such a bad light. Like it's honestly amazing
Yeah.
how mean they were to this to Corey
Yeah.
Haim apparently.
And yeah, like this and like the next song are like their meditations on fame, which are
Yep.
like they're always a funny thing to put on your debut album, but even
It's so good.
funnier if you're putting them on your debut album when you never make anything else afterwards.
Yeah. I was thinking about how this is like conceptually this a couple of songs on this album seem like an album that like a band would make after they had their big breakup and then toured for 2 years, and then they make a somber reflection on fame and how it affected their lives, which then you like listen to and then you're like, well, I can't relate to this one. But
no,
on
instead
this
they were fucking around in the studio
and
had barely toured at all.
Yeah.
And the interplay
really
is so
to
fun.
Come out of them.
Yeah.
Any song that ends with the two lead singers just screaming "I hate you" at each other. Or sorry, they're like casually whispering "I hate you" to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
Just replace the outro of Slint's Good Morning Captain with this.
It's the opposite.
I love how much the interplay between star and fan is like not witty at all. Like it's just, no you're not, yes I am, no you're not, yes I am. It's not an argument, it's really just like childish bickering.
Yeah.
Here are some words that rhyme with Corey. Glory, story, allegory, Montessori.
All right, so that is the end of side A, or as it is called on the vinyl, side not ready.
We're not ready to die yet.
When I was playing we never did it, but I own the vinyl. I do own the vinyl. We didn't do it before we started.
You have the vinyl.
I have the vinyl. I have the non-reissue. Oh, I think it was still a reissue, but it wasn't the remastered version.
Yeah, just a repressing.
It's just a repressing, and it's on pink vinyl. It looks real good. The art is huge and beautiful because it's really well done art.
Yeah.
And then side A is called Side Not Ready for the opening track, and then side B is called Side Ready for the closing track. But I forgot how that went and played them backwards, so I actually listened to side B before side A.
What kind of experience is that to start with Let's Get Known and end on Chart Star?
Let's Get Known is a weird track to start on, but it also like conceptually kind of works.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So Let's Get Known.
Let's get known. If we keep it up, we'll show the haters it's gonna be soon, not later. Hey, let's get known. If we work real hard, we can buy some matching clothes for our live shows.
Because this opens with like a radio recording.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure what the context of this interview is, but it's like if you'd like to get more details on that, call 1-800.
A lot of strange people involved in it, There's people who are really heavily into the more satanic aspects of it, and really kind of violent aspects, which I'm not going to share with you two. Like, that could be about anything if it's from like the 80s or early 90s.
Yeah, it's about Dungeons and Dragons.
That
could literally be about Pokemon.
It could be.
Yep.
Let's get known. If we keep it up, we'll show the haters.
Yeah, it's very much like it's a fun thing to reference on your album about death.
Mm-hmm.
The Unicorns were all busy playing Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire when they recorded this album.
I was thinking, like, when I first listened to this, I was like really taken out by them saying we'll show the haters, because like I listened to it in 2015 and it was like this 10-year-old album, and I was like, oh, they were already saying that back then.
Yeah, it wasn't as big of a phrase.
Yeah.
At least outside of hip hop. But
yeah, it was basically just a hip hop thing.
The Unicorns are poking fun at the idea of making it big time in a band. They use the ever-prominent term haters facetiously, as if they are rappers trying to fend off naysayers. In actuality, the Unicorns care more about the art than they do their fame. I'm literally going to stuff Squanto into a locker.
I'm not sure that's true about the Unicorns and this line.
No, I'm sure they just didn't like touring.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wanted to get known.
And like, yeah, a lot of the lyrics, of course, are very facetious on the entire album, but it's just like, to me, it just feels like that's the language they speak, like, they're just joking around a little bit with everything, but it's fine.
It's a weird thing to say, to be like they're saying it as if they are rappers, and it's like, no, not everyone uses like African American vernacular to like make fun of African American vernacular. Sometimes you just kind of pick up a phrase from the music you listen to, and like Nick Thorburn listened to a lot of hip hop.
You can just say "Let's show the haters" without it being a commentary on hip hop.
Unless you're Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was probably just being racist.
Racism in my Treadwife music?
If we work really hard, we can buy some matching clothes for our live shows. Is funny because
so funny.
they literally did. They had like white and pink outfits that they wore at their shows.
Amazing. I don't know. If we work real hard, we can buy some clothes. It's so funny.
Buy some matching clothes specifically.
Yeah.
But like, I just remember I was looking at like one of their like tour schedules, which are insane. You can see how they like, even if they were playing normal shows and were getting along, like the schedule they were playing was like relentless. And they were playing like, they played in Sudbury, which is my hometown of 150,000 people. And they played like the upstairs of an Italian restaurant. Like they were playing the upstairs. They were playing the venue of where my the gym that I worked at had our Christmas party.
Nice.
That was they weren't like playing like big or good venues. They weren't even playing the biggest venue. They weren't even playing like the biggest like normal venue to play in like downtown Sudbury.
Just whatever they could find.
They were playing the upstairs of an Italian restaurant. The
Hollywood
only time
upstairs
that
medical school.
The only time that bands really play there is when there's festivals in town and you like, need to maximize venue space.
Yeah.
But like there are several other venues downtown that would be more normal places for a band to play, and they did not play those. They played the upstairs of the Italian restaurant venue.
The matching clothes thing, like can you think of a lot of bands currently that do like matching outfits on stage?
Not everyone could be as cool as Devo, Kraftwerk, and Polysix.
The White Stripes, I guess.
Yeah, White Stripes.
There was a band that was in the Wham City collective back in the mid 2000s called Nuclear Power Pants, and I saw them open. I saw them open for Dan Deacon once, and they all their backup bands wore like blacklight neon green polygonal shark heads.
Fuck yes.
And so it was just like a really visual component to this band, and like I feel like a lot of bands don't have that sort of visual gimmick anymore.
I feel like there's plenty of bands that have like visual gimmicks, but I don't know if they're so much matching. Because like if I'm thinking of like bands with visual gimmicks, I'm thinking of like Twerp, and they play with like big ass animal heads on,
right?
And like robot costumes, but like they're all different. They're all wearing different costumes. Matching clothes is a very old aesthetic. Like I feel like they're specifically invoking like Beatles boy band-esque attire with that.
Yeah.
Look at the ants on the floor. They work real hard, lifting 3 times their mass and sometimes more. That's such a fun, cheeky line.
Yeah.
So what do you say?
It's all on the line.
I am just a little ant. I cannot change this.
I also love the line, let's have 2 spotlights shining with all our work shown.
Yeah, that's very informative of the band dynamic. The band that has 3 members.
Yeah,
nobody cares about the drama.
As far as I could tell, Jamie wasn't like an official member of the band until they were touring. Although he was like on the recording.
Yeah,
because he didn't write anything for the album.
Yeah, from what I can tell, the like EPs they had before had only the 2 of them, and then they got the drummer to make them more into real songs, I guess.
Yeah, and then also to tour, because they weren't gonna They Might Be Giant style tour with the drum machine. They put up a Rhythm Section 1 ad, and then got their buddy Jamie on the tambour.
Yeah,
I love their band names because like they all have like nicknames within the band. So like Alden is, instead of being Alden Penner, he's Alden Ginger, and then Nick Thorburn is Nick Diamonds, and then Jamie Thompson is Jem Tambour. I love the drums. His name is literally I love drums.
Incredible.
Or sorry, I love drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you just naming things that are in the office and saying you love them, Brick?
Fucking Penn Badgley ass name.
Nick Neil Diamonds is pretty good too.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
good. I think he actually did put something out as Nick Diamonds at one point.
Yeah.
He has a bajillion like artist names, as does Alden.
Right.
And then like Jamie is like the one through line because like he's shown up on every like new thing that Alden's released, and he's on like half of the Islands albums. He like keeps leaving and joining Islands.
Well, that makes sense to have like a drummer around that both of you can get along with. So
Yeah, I assume that him being in the band is the only reason they survived long enough to tour, because he's friends with both of them and had to like mediate.
yeah,
I can't believe he was the auspicious to their Calignis relationship.
Oh my god.
That's a pull.
Yeah, I don't even want. I hate
Stephanie just gave me a glare from across the room.
I fucking hate this.
I'm not gonna not bring up Homestuck.
You're not wrong.
I feel like when we eventually get Elizabeth on the show, she'll have probably at least as much to say about Homestuck as you do.
Sometimes Homestuck comes up. It's
Has Pitchfork reviewed the Homestuck soundtrack?
no, he should. They should.
Mr. Pitchfork.
Mr. Pitchfork.
John Pitchfork.
Pitch me a fork.
Pitchfork.
Right.
The cutest man car door hook hand.
And then we're getting into their intro track.
I
Yeah.
keep calling it the title track, even though it's not the title of the album.
It's not.
The
Yeah, I
title
know.
of the band.
Yeah.
I mean, I love any band that makes a song,
A theme song.
that's titled after their name. Yeah, any band with a theme song is good. It's a good gimmick.
Yeah, so this was I Was Born a Unicorn.
I was born a unicorn. I could have sworn you believed in me. Then how come all the other unicorns are dead? We're never gonna stop. No one to stop. We want one together for sure. I write the song. You say I'm doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong.
I was thinking about one of them. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It's not the Highwayman had their first song was The Highwayman, so that's good.
They
The
Might Be
Apples and
Giants have They
Stereo
Might Be
have one.
Giants.
They Might Be Giants and They Might
Yeah.
Be Giants on like not even their first album, right?
No, not famously not on the album. They Might Be Giants. It's on
Yeah.
Flood.
They may have recorded it like back on their one of their old demo tapes or something before Flood came out.
The thing you got to know about They Might Be Giants is that they have like literally over 1,000 songs. So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are the good boys that make the music. But yeah,
Quantity
I Was
is
Born
in
a
their
Unicorn.
mission statement.
Yeah, I really like the way this is put up on Genius, because they have Nick and Alden's lines like differently formatted. So they have all
Yeah.
the diamonds, all the Nick Diamonds lines are normal, and all the Alden Ginger lines are in italics.
Yeah, I wish they had done that for the entire album, because
Yeah, no, it would be very helpful.
it would be great to know which lines in the entire thing are sung by whom. Like, I feel like on like hip hop lyrics, it's pretty standard to annotate which one of them is doing which verse. So I don't know why they couldn't.
Yeah,
do
the
it on
only thing
this
that's
one.
different with this one is that like they're trading lines.
Yeah.
They're not even like doing separate verses.
Yeah.
And this is another one with with a questionably kayfabe argument in it.
Yeah, this one feels like they're like, because on Child Star it's clearly like about someone else.
Yeah. But this one's in
Nick is playing.
character.
Yeah. For this one, this feels like they're exaggerating their own arguments, or they're like,
And so yeah, the way the song starts is with like the most 2003 jangly indie guitar line, which I love so much.
it's pretty
Like
good.
it just sounds so great. And then like Jamie's drum beat just being like single snare hits. That's it.
yeah.
Yep.
We love that.
Yeah, there's I found an article on self-titled mag.com where they asked The unicorns, it says in the title.
It's just Alden.
It's just Alden. They just asked Alden to say something about each song, and he says nothing about, like, he says like one line about most of them. But
Yeah, I like his description for Let's Get Known is just another kind of prayer. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Alden.
I think
But yeah.
he said on one of the songs that maybe the snare was too much. I'm trying to find on which one it was. Like he said about one of the sounds that he said on Child Star maybe the shaker didn't need to be there the whole time, but it
Yeah,
was in
yeah,
the
yeah.
overhead mic, so we couldn't.
It was in the
do
overhead
it.
mic. And then, yeah, for I Was Born a Unicorn, since I have this page open, I might as well read it. I love high life music, and this style of guitar playing is my expression of appreciation. Which, like,
Why does
I
he
guess
talk
that kind
like
of
this?
tracks. He does not talk like a person. I was discussing with a friend last night about the advancement of our music from part to part without return, or at least rare returns to early motifs. So that's like something that both the reviewers notice is like they will throw a hook down and never come back to it. It is a 5-course meal prepared with great care, and each course presented with attention to the guests, naming the origins of ingredients and pairing each course with the appropriate wine.
Exactly what I was gonna say
Damn.
about
I
this
want
song.
someone who has never heard this song before to read that paragraph and then go listen to the song.
I can't believe
Although
this album won Chopped.
Like, that is an insane thing to say about the song that opens, I was born a unicorn. I missed the arc, but I could have sworn you'd wait for me.
It's so funny. The lyrics on this song are very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then how
first
come
bridge.
all the other unicorns are dead?
God, it's so good.
They put such a snotty affect on their face, on their voice when they'd say that.
This,
I write the
this
song.
is
I write
kind
the
of
songs. You say I'm doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong.
The song is kind of the reason. So for a while before I actually listened to Crooked Rain, I thought that Pavement is a funny band that make funny songs, and it's mainly because I only knew the songs "Cut Your Hair," and that reminded me of "I Was Born a Unicorn" for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, cut
Sure,
your hair.
yeah.
This song seems like it's built out of the same mold. A lot of talking over each other.
Yeah.
A lot of like jangly guitar sounds. I mean, like every indie rock band in the early 2000s and late 90s owes something to Pavement.
Yeah,
Like that's a result that's like not because of Pitchfork, even though Pitchfork was like a big Pavement fan, but like that was just what the scene was. It's like you couldn't be a band and not owe something to REM in the 90s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny to think about like the 90s music scene in Athens, Georgia, and it's REM and then the entire Elephant Six collective. You
Yeah.
can't imagine anything so different, but yet like they definitely fed into each other in ways.
And then also the B-52s winding down in Athens.
Yeah. God.
So
I mean, one of them is on Shiny Happy People.
It's true.
yeah. So Nick says we're never gonna stop, and then Auden says, "I think I want to stop."
There we go. You can just end the album right there.
I think I want to stop, guys.
I write the song. I write the songs. Say I'm doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong.
We want one us. Okay, I'll do push-ups. Like his voice is so fucking funny. And then I think one way that you could like you can really contrast the way that these two guys write their lines. Nick going, put your crystals under my pillow, and then Alden saying, send your epistle to my bedfellows. Not a human man.
No. Definitely not.
No one has ever said either of those words before.
I love the put your crystals.
Yeah.
Really getting
Please,
those plosives
Mr.
in there.
Kennedy.
Yeah. God.
And then, yeah, the break. When dreaming beasts are dying down on out. They're there. If we agree they're there, they're there. Alive and shorn.
Sure.
I think
I stop
of
believing
anytime
in
anyone
you.
has ever said they're there before, I will always follow it with, if we agree they're there, they're there.
Alive and shorn.
Because it's just a good line.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
If I stop believing in you, if you stop believing in me.
This is kind of like Terry Pratchett concept, like for fans
It's that, and it's also like this is one spot where like the Genius annotation does just seem correct.
What did they say?
It's referring to Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass. I always thought unicorns were fabulous monsters too. I never saw one alive before. To which the unicorn replies, "Well, now that we've seen each other, if you'll believe in me, I'll believe in you." Is that a bargain?
Beautiful.
Like that's just a fun Lewis Carroll line.
That might be a
Yeah.
Lewis Carroll reference there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
To go back to the Beatles thing we mentioned earlier, it does feel like this was recorded using a lot of like 60s production techniques. Like it does the stereo panning of the vocals like completely to the left and completely to the right.
Yeah.
Which is something that they really loved to do back in those days.
Oh yeah, in my like Beatles listening like teenage years when I was a born in the wrong generation guy. That was like, because I didn't even have music on my phone, but I had like I didn't have an iPod because we didn't have like that money, but I had like a no-name MP3 player that had like a ton of Beatles songs on it, and I was like really annoyed by how the...
Did you have one of those like old Sony MP3 players that are like a triangular prism and had like 128 megabytes of space?
It didn't have it might have even had 256, but not more than
Oh
that.
wow. You really went out. You could put the Halo 1 and Halo 2 soundtracks on there. Mine just had the Halo 2 soundtrack.
And then you could get iPod and get 1,000 songs.
Wow.
Damn.
Who knew there was even that many songs?
Yeah,
Definitely not Tim Apple.
Definitely not Tim Apple.
that's a lot of music. That's like...
But yeah, that's most obviously poppy song on the like one of the most obviously poppy songs on the album, like just full of hooks. And then we start getting into the album denouement. We're the unicorns, and we're people too.
Great stuff.
All right, now we got Tough Love.
Tough love.
It's time to decide. Oh, we make it or we die. It's time to decide. We make it or we die. Hey, nuclear war in a hotbed of trouble. Make with a pen, it's a pen on the double. We're going down. In smoke.
This is the least poppy song on the album.
I think it's my favorite though.
It's really good.
First of all, it has pan, flute, and fiddle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How could you say anything bad about a song that has pan, flute, and fiddle on it?
it's where they started turning into islands a little bit.
Yeah, like just kind of like almost like there's a lot of hip hoppy affect, other than like the one line that's literally just rapped.
Yeah, and then it's a lot of mumbling after the rap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I always think of the melody of the "What do you picture makes a frame? What you do every day is the same. Turn off the lights and shake your hips. Let's make like a couplet, like two pairs of lips."
The singing is
It's
like
good.
this is the song where like their vocals are the most like dissonant to each other. Like it's
Yeah, like they're the harmonies on the pop goes the ceiling of routine, pop goes the feeling of sitting. Like they are not well done harmonies, but it works.
no, it's perfect. It's perfect the way it is. Not well done. Yeah.
Yeah, I say this a lot, but sometimes people who are good at singing are boring to listen to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to sing a little bad. Like
Yeah.
it's very clearly deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like Alden's doing like a a straight falsetto of those lines, and then Nick's just going all over the place. The
Switching between the chest voice and the head voice a lot.
sitting. Yeah, I mean that's what they do over this whole album.
Yep.
This album has a lot of head voice on it.
Well, it's time to decide. We'll make it or we die. Do you think that's a theme on the album?
It might be.
This line could refer to the possible theme of the album, says the annotation. The possible theme of dying on the album that has like 3 ghosts and starts with Ready to Die and ends with Ready to Die and starts with Don't Want to Die. Maybe it's a theme. I don't know.
The death
That's
theme on
another-
the album
that's
may
another-
as well. They may as well have made Mount Erie by Mount Erie for how much death is on this album.
It sure is, right? Another just
Like-
like great hook below the "It's time to decide we make it or we die." Like just great.
Yeah, for
And then,
like
yeah, the
one
one-
line. It's,
Yeah, and then the one rapped line that they just throw in there.
Hey, nuclear
Hey,
war.
nuclear
we're
war in a
hotbed of
hotbed
trouble.
of trouble. Make with the pen, it's a pen on the double.
It's so it shouldn't work. Like, it sounds like the corniest
it's
shit to have
cringy.
like a white indie band and have like rap lines on it, but it's so good.
Well, see, the thing is, like, they don't make the mistake of doing a full verse of it.
Yeah.
And it's also just funny to hear Nick doing the religious sounding lines, because those are usually Alden's flavor. It almost seems like he's making fun of him a little.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Make with the penance, repent on the double. Like, I love the wobble he puts in his voice for that. He sounds like a
Yeah.
street preacher.
Yeah, that's
It-
what.
it-
They don't make the same mistake of like Who Kill, for example, where they get a little bit too far into the like appropriation of a non-white musical style and
Yeah.
just kind of do it a little bit off.
Yeah.
Do you think this song might be about dying?
It might be about dying.
Might be.
I love the way the song ends too. Clean the egg, don't make me beg, save us.
Save us.
Because it's like the clean the egg following save it with the face. Egg on your face. How did the annotator not catch that? That's very obvious. We're embarrassed. Save us. We're embarrassed because we just had a rap line. We did it with a straight face.
I'm really surprised that no annotator jumped in and saying something like crazy about Nick Thorburn prefers clean eggs.
I also just wanted to point out a line. Can't you see you've got honorable mention? Can't you see you've got no pension plan? Mood.
Damn.
Yeah, that's capitalism.
He's talking about the dissolution and the underfunding of the Canadian pension plan under successive Liberal governments.
Damn, it's true.
It's true.
Damn.
We'd had 10 years of Liberals at that point.
Going down in smoke and flames. Going down, there's no one to blame. I can't believe there's no annotations on that line. Like, that's... You can do so much about how it's religious imagery, maybe, the smoke and the flames, and that it's apocalyptic, you know.
Relating the apocalypse to the ending of your band is like an old-timey bit that they're clearly doing.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah.
no one says nothing about it. Right, we're moving now to inoculate the innocuous.
Inoculate the innocuous.
Store cells for hidden substance, but new flavors and aromas go
God, I wish I could get a fucking inoculation.
Yeah.
Am I right, gamers?
Nick Thorburn, I don't know if Nick Thorburn is still living in Canada at this point, but if he is, good luck getting one of those sweet jabs.
Yeah, good fucking luck. I don't think he is, but either way, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love Squanto's annotation on this one. Small doses daily, absorbed and
Christ.
collected in the glands and fatty tissues over time. So the song's called Inoculate the Innocuous, obviously. But yeah, Squanto. Many drugs, including the Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, are stored in the fat cells of humans. It's not about weed, you dumb fucking stoner.
the fucking image they attached to this.
Oh yeah, like the fucking heady nug they put on here.
This looks
Oh, yeah.
disgusting.
That's actually just mold. He pulled that out of his wall.
This is honestly like the cops that came to our school to tell us that that drinking is a great gateway to weed and weed is a gateway to hard drugs, so shouldn't even start. Like they should just have shown this image and that would have done all the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want these.
It's one of those pictures that like the cops post on their Twitter accounts saying like, this is a thing we recovered off the street.
Well, they got Davy Jones's gun, and then this piece of Photoshop right here.
Yeah. A pistol covered in coral.
Oh Jesus Christ! On the next line, this annotator. I don't have the name of the annotations, by the way, because I'm not logged in on Genius.
It's not
Oh,
showing
yeah.
me it for this one. Oh no,
Yeah, this
it's
one doesn't-
partially Squanto.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, there's two contributors.
Yeah, for the next
Yep.
one, there's 2 contributors, and it continues the line of like inane medical facts that we
This
don't
one
need
is
them
like
that much.
it's definitely what he's going for. He definitely just learned what the pupillary sphincter is.
Yeah,
and then decided to use the line somewhere in the asshole of my eye. Like, that is the one-to-one connection.
I don't want an anatomic drawing of the asshole of your eye, you know.
No, we didn't need that.
The speaker is taking pleasure in watching someone cry.
I didn't think that the you in that line was referring to another person.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like he's I feel like that's just when you, a human, cry.
Yeah, I think that's like the neutral you, like the...
Yeah, it just seems to completely misread this line.
I don't think
The
unicorns are taking pleasure in crying. In others crying, I mean. They're not like,
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral.
Yeah, you can't understand what he means, but you soon will.
the asshole of my eye is when I wake up in the morning and my cat's ass is right in my face.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's when I wake up and Nanny wants to get fed. It's nothing but whole.
Yeah, just right there.
Right there. We love our cats.
Flavorful, beautiful.
But yeah, this
Bananas help me unwind. Watermelon makes it awesome.
watermelon makes it awesome.
That's what I'm always saying about watermelon.
Squanto says bananas contain a protein called tryptophan, which when consumed, the human body converts into serotonin, which makes you feel relaxed.
Shut the fuck up, Squanto. He's literally just being random.
Very
Yeah.
curved banana.
Squanto is having an epic bacon moment here.
Banana.
Yeah, no, like, they kind of just... True. This song's actually about minions.
Yeah.
Damn. We should call Max real quick.
Yeah, but like, reflect on your absence, genuflect in my presence, remove your abscess, they say it's cancer. He's literally just saying words.
I love to
Don't worry
put a line
too
in
hard
my
about it.
song about how I love to eat a donut, and then there's gonna be like a genius annotation about how which sugars a donut contain that makes you kick off that serotonin and why you like you don't need that information.
No.
When you have the munchies for donuts, it means weed.
It does mean weed. It means funny weed.
The instrumental of this song, it's a lot less farty than the rest of the album. It almost is like kind of smooth. It's kind of like a smoother indie rock. It almost sounds a little bit... It sounded a little bit like Pinback to me on my most recent listen.
I can see that a little bit.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't care that much for this song. Like, out of order.
It's a little long.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
the song where it's like, we're getting into the final stretch of the album, and I see that the next song is a banger, so I want to get to that one. I don't skip
Yeah.
it because all the songs are very short, but like, you know, if I had to, like, this is probably my least favorite on the album. Oh, it is 5 minutes long, yeah.
Yeah. It's, unlike Child Star, it really pushes its 5
Yeah.
minutes. You can't have the line, the asshole of my eye, in the first 30 seconds and want me to stick around for the whole 5 minutes. Sorry, Nick.
But they can ask really nicely.
They can.
Will you please, sir, stay and listen to my asshole song? This is where I'm the asshole. I don't even remember what song that was anymore, but I remember that was an annotation.
Yeah. Then we got Les Os.
Tell me about your love affairs. I want to know all the lurid details. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh,
Why is it
Yeah.
called that? Oh, because there's a lot of O's. I don't know.
That is probably why it is called that, but it also just means the bones.
Oh,
Okay.
bones.
That's
That
French,
makes sense.
baby.
Yeah, I didn't grow up needing to learn French. I could have chosen French as my high school language, but I went with German instead, which didn't give me a whole lot of Canadian indie rock experience.
Yeah, you need the French to understand the Canadian indie rock when they put French in there sometimes.
Yeah,
It
and I
happens
mean,
sometimes.
look, it did help you understand all the great Kraftwerk lyrics. So
Yeah, you can listen to the Kraftwerk in their original intended German, so
yeah,
I think you're
That's
right.
true.
now you know what fun.
Except
fun,
when you
fun
get
of
to
the
Tour de
Autobahn
France
means.
soundtracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Tour de France is also in French.
God damn it.
God, Kraftwerk is good.
Fucking Europeans and they're speaking more than 2 languages.
Yeah, unrelatable, honestly.
Unrelatable. We are bilingual at most here in North America, and we like it that way.
God, I was watching the movie Black Book yesterday, which is a Dutch movie. It's directed by Paul Verhoeven, and the main character is played by Melisandre, and she's like she's speaking Dutch, but then for like huge chunks of the movie she's speaking German, and it's like almost perfect. Like you can barely hear an accent. And then she also like played Melisandre in Game of Thrones, and then didn't have like an obvious accent. Like also very good English. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's your deal? How are you doing that? Like,
She's got a good control over Germanic languages, I guess.
yeah.
Guess so.
I wonder if it's like I could see that like for European, like specifically Dutch and Scandinavian actors, it's almost a requirement that they speak almost unnoticeably perfect English so that they get a job. Like,
Unless you're Mads Mikkelsen.
yeah.
Yeah.
He can do whatever the fuck he's doing.
This one was immediately more interesting than the last song to me.
Yeah.
And like I was still enjoying how there's no verses or chorus really. And I was at this point I was kind of reflecting on like maybe why I wasn't as into this back in the day. And I think it was just the like instrumentation kind of tricked me into thinking that it was less interesting than it actually is. And that was also kind of what happened to me the first couple times, like when I was a teenager, that I listened to Illinois by Sufjan Stevens.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on in that album, but it also like just is an indie pop record.
Right.
Yeah.
You had like a more resistance to like twee, I guess is the short way to put it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean that was almost like a dirty word in indie rock for a while.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
everyone realized that it's good and you love it.
Yeah, I was like, remember when someone asked me like, what the fuck does twee even mean? And like the only the only explanation I could give was like, if you listen to Belle and Sebastian, that's kind of what it feels like.
I think,
Yeah.
twee was basically describing people who kind of sound like Belle and Sebastian.
Yeah.
Although Belle and Sebastian are very, like, they're very wordy. It's a different kind of twee than this. Or like Los
Yeah.
Campesinos.
Yeah.
Beat happening.
Beat happening, yeah.
Yeah.
This song sure says, and make love with you in my grave in
I
it.
want to die today. I love how in this how this is an album where you can like wholeheartedly sing along to "I Want to Die Today" and not feel like shit.
Yeah, mood. Is this love of ours a lie? Is it killing me alive? Is this
so
love
good.
of ours a lie? Is it
We have-
chemically derived to ascertain and sequester the pain? Is this
We're-
love of ours a lie?
Is it?
We're already circling back to the AIM instant messenger away messages.
Oh, absolutely. This is the one you put when you're sad.
Yeah.
God, I love this song. Like, this is the ending of this song is the most like grandiose this album feels. I feel like
Yeah.
it's,
Because yeah, Ready to Die is very it's quiet. It's a real album closer kind
Yeah.
of song.
I mean, I love when I think like the second to last song always needs to be like a significant one for any album. Like
Yeah.
you have to make that like the big statement, and then you put something to the end that like gives it a nice wind down or a good like ending point. But like this one is like there's no chorus on this one, but like the "I Want to Die" is this "love of ours a lie" part that really feels like the high point or like the climax of the album, I guess.
Yeah, and then it goes immediately into the song Ready to Die.
Yeah.
Things conclude. So slur that chorus. The ghost got Biggie Small, sounds like a drill. The death sweat suits me. A death threat provides a thrill. I've seen the world. I've kissed all the pretty girls. I've said my goodbyes, and now I'm ready to die.
Notorious B.I.G. reference.
Yeah, I mean, he literally says it.
He does literally say it.
Which
then, yeah,
the
I woke up
genius
thirsty on an
annotator
island.
didn't catch. Wait, they did. When I last looked at this, I could swear that someone pointed out in the comments. Yeah, someone points out in the comments that the Ghost of Biggie Smalls is a reference to Ready to Die. So I guess originally it wasn't in there. Like,
Yeah. This opens up right away with I woke up thirsty on an island in the sea, and then Island's first album is called Return to the Sea.
uh-huh.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like this song is like quoted on Swan's Life After Death, which is on that album as well. So he's already putting down the preludes to his future music on there.
At the end of this track, they do just sort of die.
It's so good.
I do love that.
There's no fade out. It just kind of cuts off
Yeah,
at
it
the
feels
end.
like he sounds like he's choking at the line "I'm ready to die," and then like dies immediately.
And then it just ends.
yeah, it's good.
It kind of this album weirdly reminds me of the movie All That Jazz. I don't know if you have seen that one, but
I haven't.
it's great. It's a great movie, but it's done by this guy who like wrote himself into a movie where he accepts his own death, and like the entire movie like beats you into the head. Like at the beginning of the movie, he's like directing a stand-up comedian's movie where he talks about the 5 stages of acceptance of death, and then like throughout the entire movie he's like hearing those stages, and then at the end he finally accepts it and sings the song Bye Bye Love, but instead of Bye Bye Love he sings Bye Bye Life. And then at the end he just dies, like in a very abrupt cut, like in a very similar way as it's in this one.
Bye bye life. Been real.
It's been real.
I've seen all the words, kissed all the pretty girls, I've said my goodbye. Like that's also what All That Jazz is about.
Yeah. The Ghost got Biggie, small sounds like a
Those
drill.
got big and small sounds.
He almost like splits it into a couplet, but the lyrics doesn't show that here, so it could have them together. They slurred that chorus. The death sweat suits me. A death threat provides a thrill. And then he dies.
F.
And then the band dies. Actually, I kind of want to look at some Unicorn set lists to see if they ended with this one. Kind of seems like the perfect song to end a show with.
Yeah.
Let's
I wonder
look
if they
at
did.
Unicorn set lists.
I'm also curious now.
They played Ready to Die and then followed it with the Unicorns 2014, which is a song from their like follow-up EP, which was basically just like they put out some demos because they had them handy while they were touring, and then encored with I Was Born a Unicorn.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
tracks.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that follow-up EP got a very, very bad review. It's not quite long enough that we could cover it on the show, but they're like, what the
Right.
fuck are these guys doing? And it's like, they're kind of just doing what they were doing on the first thing, but they literally just gave you demos instead of an album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe it just needed that extra level of polish that an album provided. Who knows?
I can't find any of the sets for like their original 2004 shows, like from.
Yeah, like, Unicorns fans clearly aren't like They Might Be Giants fans, where every set list is perfectly...
Oh, I found
Obsessively
one
cataloged.
I found one from 2004, but this was probably like one of those 30-minute shows. Like they only played 10 songs. They didn't even play Ready to Die, and they ended on I Was Born a Unicorn. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, so Rough Jam was a Unicorn song, because it's in the set list. And Abominable Snowman became Abominable Snow on the second Islands album.
Yep.
So yeah, like, Nick was plumbing the depths for those first two.
So that's Who Will Cut Our Hair When We're Gone by the Unicorns.
damn, we didn't even find out who will cut the hair.
God damn it. I think
Pavement.
it's, like, kind of fascinating that they gave the original and the new reissue the same score.
Yeah.
I feel like often they will either go up or down.
It's exactly as good as we thought.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
it's
it's like-
objectively an 8.9 out of 10.
It is objectively an 8.9. You can't make it any higher. You can't make it any less. It's like Pitchfork has like a mixed history with how they treat reissues. Because sometimes they're like, I want to consider this reissue as its own product, and they'll review it as such. Or they'll be like, I want to consider this reissue compared to like a mistaken original review. So that's like Andrew WK going from a 0.6 to an 8.6. The largest mea culpa in their entire history. And then you get stuff like the reissue of Modest Mouse's whatever the fuck their 2000 The Moon in Antarctica. The original, they either gave it a 10 or a high 9, and then the reissue got below 5. And the only reason they gave for that is like, oh, the bonus tracks aren't that good.
Yeah.
And like
it's
that's such
still
a
a really good
weird way to
album.
reassess a reissue. But this one, it's like, okay, there's some extra tracks on this, but like the jelly bones of what we have here are pretty solid. And like, yeah, we think it's pretty much as good as we said it was. It's an interesting thing in like the lineage of Pitchfork reissue reviews.
So we got some Twitter questions for the first time in quite a while for
Oh,
this
I'm glad
episode.
you remembered to ask for those because I sure did.
And our guest did a good job of soliciting those from folks. So I'll just go down these starting from the top. The first one that we got was from past guest James from both the Kanye and the Tune Yards episode that says, longtime guest, first time questioner, how important to the conversation around anything unicorns is their very small footprint output compared to their apparent influence in indie music? I've always felt like Who Will Cut Our Hair When We're Gone has a monolithic stature despite being a fairly slight album. And yeah, I could see that.
I think we kind of got into that a little bit. It's just like, it's
Yeah.
because Pitchfork was a kingmaker.
Right.
I feel like without like a major high profile review like Pitchfork, it wouldn't make any sense. And I feel like that additional level of fame is probably also just what broke up the band later, because they
Yeah.
clearly weren't ready for the level of fame that it brought them.
And
Because
it's
they
wild
clearly
that
did
it's-
not like touring.
If we accept that it's really Pitchfork that made them big, then it's especially wild because it's an awful review, as we said.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't think people were ever reading the reviews. I think that's kind of how Pitchfork was operating, is assuming that you were just looking at the score and not reading the review at all.
Otherwise, I
Moving
don't
on,
know
yeah.
how. Like, if that review was published today, like everyone would have roasted them for that style
On Twitter, yeah.
mercilessly on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Giant ratio.
Giant ratio.
Then we have from This Might Be a Podcast. This isn't really a question, but just pointing out that Greg Simpson from This Might Be a Podcast rated this album number 3 on his top 100 of 2000 to 2009 for
Wow,
Punk
above the
News.
Weaker Than's Reconstruction site. That's bold.
Yeah.
Above
As
transatlanticism.
a big Weaker Than's fan.
Yep.
Just one below
And-
Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
And Mink Carr is at number 9.
Greg
Sure.
is the only person who likes Mink Carr.
You know,
Ninth
it came out on
best album of
9/11, and it's just a very important album to the culture.
9th best album for the decade is wild for that one.
Yeah. From Zelius, can non-virgins listen to the Unicorns?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Like, I felt a little bit awkward listening to this. And I think that's just, it's, as we often cover on this show, it's got some big incel anthems on it.
Yeah, of course. He keeps... All the lyrics are about how he's not getting laid. I don't know, this doesn't seem like an obvious incel album to me. Like, it's not Bright Eyes, if you know.
Correct. Yeah.
God. We may not be pure of body, but we are pure of heart and pure of mind, so I'm sure the Unicorns would grace us with their presence.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's less of a this is incel music and more like
It's
the Unicorns will be insulted if you fuck. Like,
I think it's very like I would be like you could almost call it like it's naive music.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's very like it's very unpretentious.
yeah.
Yeah, you listen to this on your Fisher-Price cassette recorder with a microphone attachment.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. That's what it's. That's what even the album cover looks like. That's what it sounds like.
Like it's
And it's
very
great.
pure.
Yeah,
Yeah, Raffi should be on this album.
yeah. But I think that also makes it be not or makes it be very re-listenable in a way that you can come back to it like 5 years later, 10 years later, and be like, oh yeah, this is still
Yeah.
good, and not like feel embarrassed for what you liked as a teen. It makes it very the way it's like a naive album makes it very not tied to a certain age group, I guess.
Yeah.
The other two questions are also from Zelius, and I don't have really anything to say about them, but I'll read them anyway. What is Nick Thorburn's class spec, and are unicorns people or addicts? I am confused.
Yeah, I famously stopped reading Homestuck after Act 5, so I don't know what a class spec is.
Well, they have class specs the whole time. It's like how John is the heir of breath.
Yeah,
those
I
are
heard
class
of
specs.
those, but they never explained it, so...
Yeah, they never really got into it.
They never said
I'm
the
also
word
just not going to.
prospect.
I'm simply not going to answer the question. The other one is just a reference to Nick Diamond's solo album, which is called "I Am an Addict," which was released in 2011. And I think the unicorns are they are unicorns because Alden is there.
Oh,
Yes.
that makes sense. Yeah, there's also 2 questions on this that are on locked accounts, so you might
Yeah,
not
I can only
them.
see OGs.
Yeah, and there's another one from Holier Descent that says, compared to Pitchfork's otherwise absolute love of lo-fi, especially in the 2000s, what do you think of the 3.6 the 2014 EP got reviewed at?
The songs were less polished, but I don't think they deserve to score that low, is my long and short on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
didn't really ever listen to that, so I don't really have an opinion on it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I didn't revisit it for this, so I don't have like a coherent opinion on it, but I think it's very much, it's kind of a Pitchfork thing around that era, is if the follow-up was not deemed as like good as the critically lauded thing, they felt like they had to knock them down a peg, and that's exactly what that review was. I think that's the same score they gave that Black Kids album.
Like a 2-point something?
Yeah, well, it was a 3-point something, but like they just didn't give the sad pugs to this one.
Sorry.
And then the other question from at Slitherbite was, which songs would be greatly improved by having a flute solo? I would say most. I also think that most songs could use just a nice fiddle in the background. It just sounds nice.
It sounds really good on the one song it's on, so yeah.
Yeah. It's just chilling there.
Yeah.
I do
It made me
have a
wanna listen to
violin.
more
Maybe
music
I should
that has
work
fiddles
that
in
into
it.
my music more. Yeah.
It's just, fiddles have nice sonics to them. It made me want to
true.
listen to the Velvet Underground.
Yeah, I love, like, I got, oh yeah, absolutely, even though that's a viola, I think.
It sounds like a fiddle, but it's the sonic profile of the fiddle that it made me think of that song.
You know, if you know band people, there's gonna be the ones who play any other instrument are always gonna make fun of the viola.
Of course.
And then there's gonna be the viola players who are gonna be very insulted if you say they play a fiddle. So
What? Viola players just need to simply embrace the country roots. Just do it.
yeah, like
We can make country anti-capitalist again. Learn to play the fiddle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, when you said violins improve anything, like, that's why King Crimson's like Tongues in Aspic is so good. Like, that's when they added a violin player. And then, like,
So I'm almost surprised that, given this was in like early 2000s Montreal, that Owen Pallett isn't on this album.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising.
It's just because they didn't spend enough time in the studio to get a violin on anything. They had the one fiddle.
I think
That's
so.
it.
Yeah, like that. That does feel like they just managed to get a fiddle on that one song, not because it didn't want on any others, but like
You have to be relatively organized to get
Yeah.
Owen Pallett on your album. Just like Owen Pallett has to be kind of organized to get Brian Eno on his album.
Yeah.
what if Brian Eno was on this one?
What if
What if
Brian Eno
Brian
was on
Eno-
this one?
He would, I think, go back to like his art rock days. He'd throw some "Here Come the Warm Jets" into this situation.
Yeah. He would overproduce the hell out of it.
Yeah,
This
I
is
don't
an
think it
album
would be
that
good.
No, this album if it were to get like a famous producer / engineer would probably be something that would benefit from a Steve Albini treatment.
Yeah, I could see that.
Although he's more a guy that's really good for bands that are used to the live format and want their album to sound like their live format, which probably wouldn't be good in this case.
What did Steve Albini do?
He's a producer.
He also did Big Black. That's like his band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he produced
Songs
the
about
first.
fucking.
Yeah, he produced the first Slint album, and he produced
okay, yeah,
In Utero by
of course,
Nirvana.
Yeah, I watched the Slint documentary, so I have seen this guy in that one. That was the guy who was like talking about how, well, I wouldn't have been a good fit for Spiderland, that I fucked up a few things on the first
Right, yeah,
album.
he only did Tweez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking
and yeah.
of like music producers, how like that might have worked, that like when Guided by Voices did their first like major studio album. They got like the producer who did Nebraska for Bruce Springsteen, like a guy who was like good at, despite being like a professional producer, just good at producing lo-fi stuff. So, you know, something like that could have worked on this, but
Yeah. Now I'm curious who produced Nebraska.
I just forgot his name. Nebraska.
It says producer brings Bruce Springsteen, so I'm sure it's somewhere else on this article.
Probably.
But yeah, either way, every time I think of Steve Albini, I just think of the anecdote about him recording with Cloud Nothings. And it was basically he sat in the corner of the studio playing Facebook Scrabble and just occasionally walking up and adjusting the mics.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking legend.
We just need someone there who knows how the equipment works.
Nebraska, by the way, has a 10 from Pitchfork. We could cover Nebraska if we wanted to.
We could, yeah.
Pretty good album.
Pretty good album. Anyway, yeah, no, I think this album holds up really well, primarily because of like the lo-fi nature in which it's recorded and the kind of chaotic environment around it. And any more or less produced, and it wouldn't have worked. It really was like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
lightning
much...
through- or lightning through-
Like, as much as we say anything can be improved by a flute solo or violin solo, I almost feel like it's... If you add one more element into this album, it's gonna fall apart. So
Yeah.
They had exactly as much flute as they needed on this one.
It needs to be simple, and it is.
To catch the lightning through the rainbow.
All right, folks. Well, I think that about does it for this one. So, Janos, thank you for coming on the show. We kind of like looped you in really, really fast as opposed to any of our previous guests. So thanks for finding one so quick. And where else can we find you these days?
you can find me mostly in the library where I'm writing my master's thesis. But if you want to find me on the internet, you can follow me at Janos Kapováry, which is my real legal name. On Twitter. It's probably gonna be in the show notes, so I don't have to spell it. You can or should listen to my podcasts. I have a few. Just check out.
Let me read them out.
Any of
The Age
them.
of Pods, Who Watches the Watch, A Song of Babbies and Puppies, Lynchpin, The Cloth Killer Chronicles, Immortal Incantations Heartspell. Are there more?
I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Got it. You can go to noisespace.xyz/host/Janos.
Hey, yeah.
Janos, to find every one of your guest appearances, of which there are many.
Yeah.
Including fear baiting.
I'm piling them up.
Podcasting is forbidden in the cloud recesses. Nightmare in Era.
Oh, I wasn't that
Another
one too,
fear
yeah.
baiting.
I was gonna say, I've only been on Fear Baiting and Cloud Recesses, but yeah, it's just like all the Roy shows, I guess, and Sarah's show.
And Nightmare in Era. Yeah, you've been on Nightmare in Era.
Yep.
And now this.
And now this, yeah, I'm gonna be on Pot of Greed
Fuck yeah.
next month.
One of these days I'll be on Pot of Greed.
So I'm David. You can find me on this show on Twitter at Daves with 3 V's. I make music as Spinning Voices, spinningvoices.bandcamp.com. Working on a new album currently. I'm not sure when it's going to be finished, but at least I've got artwork ready for it, which is looking really nice. So I'm excited about that. Matt, what about you?
I'm Matt. You can find me on Twitter at MattGCN, where I post about Pokemon mostly. I feel like the only podcast I've updated relatively recently is my Pokemon podcast, which I updated a couple of months ago. It's called Elite Full Restore. It is the thing that started the network that is noisespace.xyz, which is our sprawling network of 36 podcasts currently. Could be more soon, who knows?
Yeah.
Check out the shows on there. Check out appearances by many hosts and guests of this podcast. And that's basically it.
So thank you to Animal Style for the use of the theme song Open Air from the album Open Air. And thanks to Nikki Flowers for making the podcast art. And as we always say, I had never seen a shooting star before.
I had never seen a shooting star before.
I have never seen a shooting star before.